This Sunday at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a number is going to mean more than a number ever should. In the middle of the biggest open wheel race in the world, a race that has nothing to do with NASCAR, the ghost of Kyle Busch is going to circle that oval. And it came together in less than a week, driven by one person who refused to let the moment pass without doing something real. This is what motorsport looks like when it acts like a family. At the 2026 Indianapolis 500, Romain Grosjean will pilot the number 18 car for Dale Coyne Racing, and that number is not a coincidence. The car has been specifically styled to mirror the iconic number 18 that Kyle Busch drove for Joe Gibbs Racing from 2008 all the way through the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season. That includes the exact font JGR used on Busch's car for over a decade. The idea originated with Townsend Bell, the FOX Sports commentator and former racer, who connected the dots between Dale Coyne Racing, FOX Sports, and JGR to make this happen. From concept to confirmation, this was assembled in days. Grosjean qualified 24th for Sunday's race. But where he finishes on the leaderboard is almost beside the point. To appreciate what's happening here, you need to understand what the number 18 meant inside NASCAR for 15 years. Kyle Busch took that number to JGR in 2008 and turned it into one of the most recognizable brands in the sport. 56 of his 63 Cup Series wins came carrying that number. 2 championships, hundreds of top 5 finishes. An entire generation of NASCAR fans grew up watching the 18 either leading races or stirring controversy, sometimes both in the same afternoon. Busch died at 41 years old just days after winning a Truck Series race. Pneumonia developed into sepsis, and the progression was rapid. The sport barely had time to process the shock before the tributes started coming, and they came from everywhere. Drivers who competed against him, teams that raced beside him, fans who spent years booing him at the top of their lungs. Now that number crosses into entirely different territory, literally. The Indy 500 and NASCAR exist in separate universes within American motorsport. Different series, different machines, different cultures. For that number to appear at Indianapolis Motor Speedway this weekend is not a small thing. It's a bridge being built in real time, and the timing could not be more loaded. The Indy 500 is one of the most watched motorsport events on the planet. Hundreds of thousands in the stands, millions more watching on television. If you wanted the world to see a tribute, this is the stage. What Townsend Bell did here deserves to be examined carefully because it was not simple. This required 3 separate organizations, Dale Coyne Racing, FOX Sports, and Joe Gibbs Racing, to agree quickly, coordinate on branding and licensing, and execute a physical livery change on a race car in the compressed window between Busch's death and race day. Anyone who has worked in motorsport knows that the logistics alone are a minor miracle. The fact that JGR said yes immediately is significant. They protected that number for 15 years. It was their identity as much as it was Busch's. Allowing it to be replicated on an IndyCar, even in tribute, represents a genuine gesture of trust and shared grief. Now here's the strategic layer that most people won't talk about. This tribute also does something important for the health of American motorsport as a whole. The relationship between NASCAR and IndyCar has historically been competitive, occasionally tense, with each series fighting for the same pool of fans and media attention. Moments like this, where tragedy becomes a point of unity rather than separation, matter for the long-term culture of the sport. Grosjean himself is an interesting figure to be carrying this tribute. He's a Formula One veteran who survived one of the most terrifying accidents in modern racing history at the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix. He walked away from a fireball that split his car in half. He knows what it means for a driver to be here one day and gone the next. If anyone in that IndyCar field understands the weight of what they're being asked to honor, it's him. He's made 4 Indy 500 appearances and hasn't cracked the top 15 yet. His best finish was 19th, but on Sunday the result in the standings is secondary. What matters is what that number looks like under the lights at Indianapolis and what it represents to the people watching. The reaction across motorsport has been overwhelmingly positive, which is worth noting because it isn't always the case when something this unscripted comes together this quickly. NASCAR fans who might never tune into an IndyCar race are suddenly invested in Sunday's event specifically because of that 18. That's a meaningful crossover moment and the kind of organic audience bridge that no marketing campaign could engineer. IndyCar fans, for their part, have largely received this with the same spirit it was offered. Racing fans understand loss in a particular way. The danger is always present in this sport, and when the community comes together around it, there's a shared language that transcends series loyalty. What's also striking is how Townsend Bell has been celebrated for originating the idea. He's a commentator now, but he raced. He gets it. And his instinct to reach out, make calls, and push this across the finish line before Sunday is the kind of human response that reminds you why people dedicate their lives to this sport. Grosjean has the race of his Indy 500 career. He runs competitive laps. That 18 is visible on broadcasts for extended stretches, and millions of viewers who may not have followed Kyle Busch closely get a long, prominent reminder of who he was and what he meant. The tribute becomes a defining image of the 2026 race, and a moment that both NASCAR and IndyCar can point to as proof that American motorsport is bigger than any single series. Grosjean has mechanical trouble or an early incident. The car disappears from the race before the cameras get meaningful time on it, and the tribute gets buried under the drama of the frontrunners. The effort and the intention were genuine, but the exposure is limited. And the moment doesn't land the way everyone hoped. It becomes a footnote rather than a headline. There are going to be 33 cars on the grid at Indianapolis on Sunday. Only one of them is carrying the weight of an entire NASCAR legacy. Kyle Busch spent his career being impossible to ignore. Turns out that doesn't stop when the career does. The number 18 is going to be on an IndyCar at the biggest race in the world, and that happened because people in this sport refused to let the week pass without doing something that mattered. So here's what I want you to tell me. Is this the most meaningful cross-series tribute you've ever seen in American motorsport? Or can you think of one that hit harder? Put it in the comments. Let's have that conversation. And if you want coverage of the Indy 500, the NASCAR reaction, and everything that follows this weekend, make sure you're subscribed. We're not letting this story go.